everyone, I'm Angela and welcome back to my channel. Since quite a few of you have asked to talk about my academic journey and what made me become a religious studies scholar and how I became a religious studies scholar. Well, at the moment, a PhD candidate. I'm about to finish my PhD. So I thought, well, I will make a video about it so that you can know me a bit better. So stay tuned if you want to find out. So let's start very early, let's say with high school. So the high school I went to was, in Italy, is called Classical High School or Liceo Classico in Italian. And it is the high school where you study the classics. So for 5 years, I've studied ancient Greek and Latin, and we were studying and translating each and every day a text from both languages. And also some other key subjects in this kind of high school are philosophy and humanities, basically. So of course, you also get to study natural sciences, but the main focus is on classical studies, so Latin, ancient Greek, and related histories and literature, as well as philosophy, Italian literature, and so on and so forth. My main passion has always been philosophy, and so after high school, I decided to get into an undergrad program on philosophy, basically. And the university I chose, which was the University of Naples L'Orientale, not only does it have a program in philosophy, but also another one which incorporates both Eastern and Western philosophies, which I found very interesting and different. And so that's the one I chose because I wanted to learn about the philosophies from all over the world, not just the stereotypical Western philosophy. And so I got particularly interested in Indian and Tibetan philosophies while studying basically all the philosophies from around the world and in different times in history. And so after getting passionate about Indian and Tibetan philosophies, I decided to learn Sanskrit and Tibetan. So for 4 years, I studied at university in between my undergrad and my master's degrees. I also learned these two languages, Sanskrit and Tibetan. By learning these two languages, you get to translate a lot of Buddhist texts because, of course, you know, there were some of my peers that were choosing like Japanese and Chinese or Tibetan and Chinese or Sanskrit and Hindi. So in that case, of course, you can have a different sources and different material to translate from. But in my case, of course, Tibetan and Sanskrit just call for Buddhist texts. So yeah, by translating a few Buddhist texts, I got really interested in Buddhism. And so in between my undergrad and my master's, I basically wanted to become a Buddhist studies scholar. So I even went to the University of Hamburg and undertook a summer school on Buddhist studies, which I found really interesting. But then by the time I finished my master's degree, I basically decided I had sort of a change of heart or just further development of my research interests. And I got more interested in the contemporary world of religions, and specifically on paganism and esotericism and shamanism, of course. So the issue was that at the time my university didn't have these kind of subjects, and it's not really that I got interest in these topics all of a sudden. It's more that, of course, I had been interested in these subjects for years and years, but I never thought that I could have studied them from an academic point of view. So the issue for me was to find something that I was passionate about that I could pursue as an academic researcher in the future. So what really enlightened my view was basically YouTube. As I mentioned in a previous video here on YouTube, the video where I interview her, I saw this paper on YouTube where Dr. Jenny Butler is explaining her doctoral research. And her doctoral research was, and her research still is, on Irish paganism and Irish witchcraft. And it was very enlightening to me because at the time I really didn't think that you could study these things from an academic perspective. And I didn't know of any universities in Italy that did study these kind of things. And still nowadays it's quite difficult to find Italian universities which address this kind of topics in the contemporary world. So that is why basically after my master's degree, which in Italy is 2 years, it's not 1 year as it is in Britain. After my master's degree, I decided I wanted to pursue a PhD. And yeah, I wasn't able to do it in Italy because, as I said, this field of study is still undeveloped at the moment. So I tried in the UK and I sent a research proposal at the University of Chester and at Leeds Trinity University. And I was accepted by both universities, but Leeds Trinity University also offered me a teaching position. So that was a dream coming true for me because I really wanted to pursue the academic career both as a researcher and as a teacher. And starting my teaching career while doing my PhD was just, amazing. So I was extremely happy and elated when I got the news that I got the job. Although technically my PhD will be awarded by the University of Leeds, but I'm funded and supervised fully by Leeds Trinity University, and my teaching is with Leeds Trinity University. So what have I taught at Leeds Trinity University then? I was leading 2 modules at Leeds Trinity University, one on magic in different religions. Basically, I was addressing how magic is conceptualized and integrated and practiced in different religions around the world, how this aspect, this ritualistic aspect, and also theoretical element is incorporated in different religions, well, specifically polytheistic religions, I should say. And the other module was on Asian philosophies. So it was about Buddhism, Hindu traditions, and Tibetan Tibetan Buddhism, Shinto, Confucianism, and so on and so forth. Since this is the final year of my PhD, I asked my teaching to be suspended for this year because I'm wrapping up my thesis. So I just want to focus on that only. And the university was kind enough to allow me to focus solely on my research while I'm finishing up. During this time as a PhD student, I've thought a lot of opening a YouTube channel, and every time I thought about it, I just said to myself, no, it's too much of a commitment. I wouldn't be able to upload regularly and to do the research for each and every video. So I really did want to open it earlier, but I don't think I would have been able to, because during my first years it was I was teaching a lot, and I was also undertaking the PGCHE, which in Britain is the postgraduate certificate in higher education. So it's sort of a certification that allows you to teach in universities, which is considered higher education in Britain. Not sure if it is anywhere else. But yeah, when I started my final year, I thought, well, since I'm not teaching now and I will be staying at home much longer, since I have to write up my thesis, I might as well do this, open this YouTube channel. The reason why I did open the channel in the end is that, as I said, I'm really, really passionate about the topics that I tackle on this YouTube channel. And I also want to offer an academic perspective. I want to offer sources, references every time I talk about something. Because I think that especially nowadays with the internet and the fake news that are all over the place, I think it's more important than ever to seek the references when somebody tells you something, because otherwise how can you check whether the information is true or not, and how can you challenge that information? So in my case, for example, I like to provide references so that you can go and read them firsthand, and you can even disagree with maybe an interpretation or a specific choice of sources. Maybe if you had to talk about the topic yourself, you would have chosen different sources. That's totally understandable, and that is why it is so key and so important to have references, so that anyone who wants to dive deeper into that specific topic knows how to, and even knows how to challenge what you're saying, because they can go directly to the source of that information and even check what was the methodology that was used for that specific study, how old is that study, has it been challenged by other researchers, and so on and so forth. I know that this may be too academic-y, and maybe people in the pagan community or people practicing esotericism might not be that interested in this academic perspective. But even in that case, I hope that I'm providing useful information and, I don't know, I guess a new perspective on these things, which is not judgmental and is not just patronizing or dismissive, as if these things were just superstitions or neglectable topics in our society, because I think that they are very much important, because our culture is made up by all our beliefs and our thoughts and by the way we see the world. And of course, even whether you integrate magic or not in your belief system, that changes completely how you interpret the world and your surroundings. Even, for example, the relationship you might have with the environment, with nature, with other human beings, everything regarding the belief systems that people create and embrace is essential in understanding us as human beings. And that's why I got so interested and fascinated, and now my research, rather than in philosophy, is in anthropology of religion, which I haven't mentioned before. Yeah, my PhD is in anthropology of religion. So yeah, I guess this is it for today. Let me know in the comment section down below whether you'd like to know more about my PhD research, which is on indigenous and transcultural shamanism in Italy and folk magic in Italy. So if you'd like to know more about my PhD research and my PhD journey, do let me know in the comments, and I'd gladly make a video on that if you are so inclined. So hope you liked this more personal video on my academic journey. And if you did, as always, smash the like button because it really helps the channel. Subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so that you won't miss anything out. And stay tuned for all the academic fun. Bye for now.